I won't take any more pictures for
Okay, come on. Get up. Get up, Mike. Come on. Come on.
you. I'm going to.
Come on. It's time to get up. Come on. Come on.
Tom, stop it. Tom.
It's time to get up. Come on. Come on.
That may have been a mistake bringing that buffalo robe along. It's
Are
nice
you ready
and
to go?
warm, and when Marge gets under that and gets to sleeping, it takes a team of heavy horses to pull her out of bed.
We're getting ready to go on our hike. I've got me a little bit of something along in case we see that old mountain lion. I understand that he killed a mountain sheep up there. Someone saw it. So if I happen to see him, I'll give him a little bit of a sudden. Are you ready?
Yeah.
There was a herd of about 25 deer up above our camp area here. I keep looking and hoping to see that mountain lion. I'm going to give him a little bit of his own medicine, and if I happen to find him and get him, we'll see how he tastes. I've heard mountain lions pretty good eating. Maybe if I'm really lucky, we'll find out. It's been a very wet, cold year, but we did find a very few wildflowers. This Gray's desert parsley is in bloom, one of the first wildflowers that we found, and the lupin's starting to come up. We have a creek here we have to cross. This is Little Indian Creek, and looks like I almost made it. Now Marge is going to show us how it's done here. Looks like she's kind of caught spraddle-legged here. There's not really room to run and jump, so we have to do it the best we can, and looks like she came out of it a little better off than I did. We find an old miner's shack up here on the hill. There was a lot of mercury mining went on in this area. Old Mike and Jim Weston mined mercury up here for years. One of them had been a jeweler in San Diego, California. The lure of the mountain brought him up here, and I can see why. It's really nice and peaceful up here. These old, fascinating old miners had a certain signature to their work, so you can tell their work most any place you might see it. Marge cut off from me as I started up. I was going up. I'd heard there was a dead mountain sheep up here, so I went on up, and Marge went to see if she could find some thunder eggs. I found all 4 feet of the mountain sheep, and I looked and looked and looked for the head. Pretty soon I found the lower jaw, and so that was a real prize. I was able to tell how old the sheep was when it died, and it looks as though it's been dead for 2 weeks maybe. It looks like it's maybe 6 years old, about maybe 7 years old, but probably no older, the way the teeth are worn and not spread a whole lot, although it depends on what kind of feed it was on. The feet of a mountain sheep are quite large. That's so they have good footing in the steep country where they live. The powerful jaws of the predator have ripped all the flesh from it and the hide from it, but yet I hadn't found the head, and then suddenly, right along the trail's edge, here's the head, and it's a ewe with a radio collar, even has a little antenna on it. And so I check it out and try to find the numbers on it so I can call the game commission. And there they are, the numbers that I've been looking for.
6, so I can't make that out. Oh, 6582, and then there's a 101/00 on it. The tip of one horn looks like it's been broomed off there, but it was definitely an older ewe. I found some little bitty thunder eggs here right alongside the road. The sheep must have been feeding here or watering at this seep, and the predator, probably a mountain lion, probably creeped up on it and got it right there. We're just above this pond down here, and the old shack's just to the right here. I expect the powerful jaws of the predator broke that skull open to get the brains out. They always do that pretty much first because that's a great source of protein. And the old cabin is almost directly below it here. It's right in the edge of this seep where it comes out on the road.
I was walking right next to the cliff where the sun faced all day long, and it was nice and warm there. I looked ahead of me, my heart almost stopped, as I found a den of rattlesnakes. There are 3 of them laying here, and the big one laying out front, I named him Bin Laden, 'cause he was tall and skinny and lived in a cave.
Bloody rattlesnakes laying right here. I wonder if there are more. That must be a danning spot. I see that one guy, he's got his head poked out there, looking around. I don't see where that guy's head is, but he's got one. There's another snake there. This is Snake Paradise. There's an old mine track and supposedly an old mine over here. That's what I was heading up to look at when I found that den of rattlesnakes. And here's the old mine track that they lowered their ore down from up above with. It's built of wood, and I finally found the old mine up here. Here's some of their rigging for hauling the ore out, and the old mine looks to be a good place to stay out of. I see an old ladder down there where a shaft goes straight down, and then this big hole. I don't know how deep it goes down in there, but looks as though it goes down there a ways. I don't think I can climb down in there and look. But I'd love to go down that ladder and see, but I think that might not be wise right today, particularly since I'm by myself here. They've had some kind of a structure built here on the front of the mine, and then there's where they hauled it down. I found Marge now. She's been over digging thunder eggs over here in a canyon, and while I went up and looked at the mine and the rattlesnakes and the dead sheep, and so she's just about back to where I am now.
Well, by now we're almost back. We're crossing the creek again, and I wanted to find out more information on these old miners up here. And I was hoping Carl'd be at the hot springs, and who better to hear it from than Carl, because he knew him personally, although I had just seen him a few times but didn't get to hear any of their stories. So we'll see what Carl knows about them. Carl may not look it, but he's 88 years old now.
Mike and Jim Weston were the ones that mined up here, you say?
Yeah, they were the ones.
And that was mostly during World War II when they got a good price out of the Mercury, was it?
Yeah, just before the World War II broke out.
And the
Mike was there by himself when they first came on, and then Jim come up from San Diego. Jim was worked in a jewelry store of all things in San Diego. So he came up here, took up mining, and he was a pretty good miner too.
Oh, do you know what year that was?
I can't remember what.
Sometime
year it was.
before World War II, though,
before
huh?
World War II, and right afterwards when he came up here.
Yeah, and then they melted the mercury out of the rock up by the orchard, you say?
Yeah, they hauled it down and had a processing thing there right by the orchard.
Oh.
Put the orchard in there.
And they hauled it down on an old truck, you said?
Old truck, old Ford truck, one of the older ones.
Old Model A, you say, huh?
Old Model A.
Yeah, I'll be darned, yeah. And so then they mined there, and then they stopped maybe about the end of the World War II, did they? Or when did they?
Yeah, that was the end of it, a little after the war. Jim stayed with him quite a while. And they wasn't making any money, so they decided to. They both kind of liked it up there, and they wanted to stay, but they didn't have nothing to do up there or make any money. And Mike was a carpenter. He's a pretty dang good carpenter, you know. So he went into Burns and was doing an odd job as Parker and make a little money. But they made some money on that mining during the war, but after the war there was no money in. So
they kind of quit it, yeah. And which one died first then?
It was Mike.
Did
Mike got kind of a cancer in the stomach. Something that broke out in his stomach is what finally got him.
Oh, do you know how old they were?
Well, he was getting old. I think he was about 80.
Oh.
Mike was, and Jim was about, I believe, a little bit older, really.
Oh, is that right?
They were both pretty old to be working, but they were both good workers.
Yeah.
Done a lot of work, not mine.
Yeah. Yeah, there's sure some holes up here.
Yeah.
It seems like all those holes up there have a ladder going down in them. They must have liked to make the hole down and then have a ladder.
Yeah, they use a ladder to get up and down on them.
The next day we decide to go on a short hike. We see our first lupin of the season is blooming here in a sheltered place. I'm sure glad I finally got to see a flower. Other years they're in bloom everywhere here.
Looks to be a baby owl here in this tree, clicking at us. And there's Mama over across there.
Oh, look at her.
Oh, she's wounded really bad.
Yeah, look at her.
She's in bad shape. Oh, yeah. She couldn't fly if she tried. Yeah. Oh, what bad shape. Both wings are broken, both legs. And baby's here clicking. So Mama wants us to chase her. She wants to be chased. Oh, she just couldn't fly.
Her life depended on it.
Yeah. We'll go over there, Marge. Whoops. Hi, she
There, she decided she could fly.
She had a speedy recovery.
Yeah?
Where'd she go?
She went over there behind those rocks. Here she
Well,
comes.
He's a mean baby. He's sure clicking his little beak.
Look down and find a large fruited biscuit root in full blossom here on the desert floor.
There's another owl's nest. And there's a little set of eyes in there looking out at me.
These are the long-eared owl, and they don't make their own nest. They just find an old abandoned
These little
nest
baby owls they're 3 and they're much smaller than the one down below.
Within 50 yards, I find another owl's nest. This one has 3 baby owls in it. 2 of them are quite small, and one of them is a little larger.
Small there. They got little eyes though. And then the big old mean one. He's sitting there chomping his beak. Yeah, that must be one of the adults to this nest. Sitting up there on a bush. So this must be a baby owl sitting across the creek from me here. That's one of the adults for certain there. Right up there, and that first baby owl we saw. This owl nest right behind me here is only about my shoulder height here in the tree, and that's 2 owls' nests in 100 yards. And here comes one of the adults swooping. Yeah, he's just perched up there like a great big mean owl. And he must be their only child, while the other one has 3 in the nest. So that's 4 baby owls here in 50 feet. That big old eye is sure looking at me. So there sits baby owl number 1. The old adult sitting there with all her wisdom, looking over at me.
I get higher up on the hill where I can look into the nest, and there are 6 little white eggs in there, just waiting to be hatched. That old mama and papa owl are really going to have their work cut out for them. A meadowlark is perched high on a bush, singing the song of spring. While a curlew takes his long beak and gouges the ground for worms and insects.
There's my first Great Basin gopher snake I've seen out here this trip. He's laying out here getting a little sunshine. He's a nice big one too. He's a little crabby today. It's our last evening here, but wow, what a nice evening. So we'll be heading home at first light in the morning. The last sunlight of the day is shining through the bullet holes in the old hot spring shack here.